Hi, I'm Fowler. Welcome to another weekly production feedback stream where we hang out in the studio and lend our ears to each other and listen to each other's songs and hopefully improve as musicians and producers. If you want to take part in future streams, just hop over to my Discord server. It's discord.gg/FowlerMusic. There's links all over the place, and the instructions are on there. So, without further ado, let's head over to FL Studio, the DAW choice of professionals around the world. Okay, first track we're listening to is KDAC Underworld. So, here we go. Okay, right off the gate, I feel like the synth is so in my face, and it continues to be in my face. I wonder if you could start off with those chords, the good chords, but maybe, I don't know, a little more subdued or a different instrument and save that for the drop or something. Also, the kick and snare that's coming in is very like, whoa, it's like big, but we're not at the drop yet. So maybe I think it just needs to be dialed back a little bit for the intro. And also, we're kind of doing the same thing for a while here. It doesn't really feel like it's progressing as fast as I would like it to. I don't feel like we're working our way towards something. So that also would help if you pulled stuff back from the start. That gives us a journey. It gives us something to work towards instead of giving us like full wall of sound with big drums right off the get-go. So that's a really nice melody. I much prefer what's going on here to this. Like the start of this track, I don't really feel it's adding a lot of value or you know, but now all of a sudden we've got something nice to listen to. So maybe like start off with this. And maybe like drop out the sub for the first half of this section, bring it in second half, maybe bring in some percussion or something to make us feel like we're working towards something. This is filthy. I like it. It's a vast departure from the melodic stuff that's happening here, which is cool. I'm not saying that's not a way to go. I also feel like it just kind of feels like there's not enough elements in the track, especially during these build-ups and stuff. Okay. All right. there's definitely some cool shit in there. Maybe try maybe try like incorporating some of the stuff from the melodic section, you know, like cut to it for a bar and then go back to the rhythm, I guess, whatever style this is. And that way it kind of ties it together, right? Okay, when the kick doesn't happen with the snare, there's no side chaining and the snare just kind of gets lost. I feel like you should have side chaining on the snare as well for that spot. Yeah, I feel like this song has a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde vibe to it, and I'm not sure if that's working for it a whole lot. I don't know. It's a cool drop, and I really like this melodic part. So maybe just try and incorporate elements from the nastiness a little bit into the intro, and maybe a little bit of the niceness from the intro in with the nastiness, so I don't feel like it's like nice melodic stuff and then forget all that shit, unless, like, you know, maybe there's like a vocal drop that says something that makes sense, like, oh, it's not nice anymore, or, you know, don't use that, that's stupid. But, you know, like there could be a concept there. I'm not really sure, but I think it's a cool drop. I think you've got a cool melody, you've got a cool drop. I think you just need to continue the song, because I do feel like it's just missing something. It almost sounds like it got rendered out without a stem. Yeah. So take the strengths of this track and try to work off of those and just progress it. Keep going with it. I'd be interested to hear this a little bit more developed, where the track feels more cohesive with the melodic stuff and the nasty stuff. So anyway, great job. Moving on. Let's go. Okay, another Paranerd. We got the hardware man himself. Let's take a listen. Whoops, my mic was muted. I really like that finger snap. Okay, I feel like if you had like a punchier, almost like a 707 snare or something, or like a 505 or whatever, those like really crunchy snare, and brought that in, it would really like, it would be a big pickup, you know? Like if all of a sudden the snap was either replaced or in addition to like a really punchy like lo-fi snare. Especially because the track is kind of, there's not a lot anchoring it rhythmically, right? Like it's all over the place. It's in the pocket. It's playing around with different rhythms and wonkiness. So like bringing in that punchy snare would give us something to like latch onto rhythmically. Okay, at this point, I'm starting to get a little bit, I don't want to say annoyed, but like that sound is kind of getting a little abrasive. It's cool, but I think if it kind of overstayed its welcome. So I'm kind of, I'm a little antsy to get past it. I think we need like a switch up here or something. I feel like we were working towards something, but the something was a little too similar to the thing that we came from. Like the destination was the same as the departure or something. Maybe like 4 to the floor, or if that, maybe that snare comes in there. I feel like it needs a bit of a switch up. Okay, that's dope. I just want to hear it. I don't know what the BPM is. Let's see. That's not the right BPM. Yeah, if it just had like a more like solid beat during some of these parts, I think that would be cool. I think that like, I think the kind of spastic rhythm is cool, but if it contrasted that against like a more solid, we get a snare on every other quarter note sort of beat, that would be cool. Especially, I really liked this when it dropped out of like the messiness into this tight beat. It's very strange. I love it. This is like, it sounds like somebody watching Charlie Brown while on acid. Yeah, this is super cool. I think the arrangement is just for my personal taste, it would need a little bit more switch ups or something to hold my attention a bit longer. It's just on the edge of being slightly too repetitive for me. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I always love hearing Paranerds' strange and unique beats. So thanks for sending that in. All right, we got Rayhem. Here we go. Nice. Nice metronome. Did you need that to come in on time? I really like the pitch bends on the notes. That's cool. I think your reverse sound ends a little bit before the beat drops. Okay, I was 100% along for the ride this entire time. It's great. Overall, the mastering, obviously, it's not very mastered. Like, it's not very compressed or loud, which is fine. But I feel like whatever came in there, whether it's a loop or a set of samples, I don't feel like the clap necessarily fits the vibe. It sounds very Vengeance Electro Pack number 3 or something. Like, it's just, it feels... I don't know how to put my, I can't quite put my finger on it. I don't like the clap when it comes into that. I think it's too like, you know what I mean? Like whatever that is, it's too much of that. It's too craft papery. Like it's got like this like it's, I don't know. Interesting. It was the same clap as before. Oh, this is strange. It didn't bother me until I got to this section. I can't quite figure out what's different about it. It's really, like, this is a really pretty song. I love it. I would just maybe experiment with some different claps. I think the clap is just not my taste of clap. And if you love that clap, then feel free to tell me to shove it. But I think you should at least try some other claps or like a snap or I don't know. That's pretty much all I don't like about this, I think. There was also a like kind of double clap thing that happened, the clap clap, you know, kind of like the commercial music. That, I don't know. Personal taste. I think, honestly, I think this is just not finished. I think that's it. It's super good. Melodically, it's amazing. Musically, it's very emotional. Just finish it. Finish it. Go outside. Grab a vocalist and get them to sing on it, and it's just that easy. All right, great job, dude. That sounds dope. All right, Strappin' the Pit. Here we go.
Let's take it back. One more bullet for the attack. Supersonic speed, son. Watch your life fade to black. You should know how it is by now. I'm bulletproof and you better bet nothing's bringing me down. Drew the lines, you better not cross it. I'm top dog out here, yeah, I motherfucking run shit. No one else seems a good fit, so stay up here. You can just stay in the pit. Don't hold back now, kid, yeah, you gotta face it. Empty that clip, give it the slip, last shot, now erase it. Don't back down one bit, drill until he submits. Nothing to it legit, go through with the hit. Don't hold back now, kid, yeah, you gotta face it. Empty that clip, give it the slip, last shot, now erase it. Don't back down one bit, drill until he submits. Nothing to it legit, go through with the hit.
Okay.
Let's take it back. One more bullet for the attack. Supersonic speed, son. Watch your life.
Yeah, this is cool. There's the...
Let's take it back. One more bullet for the attack. Supersonic speed, son.
The beat, if we ignore the vocals right now, because the vocal is cool, the beat is halfway between sounding purposefully lo-fi, kind of garagey, kind of grungy, and also halfway between that and halfway towards unintentionally sounding that way. So it kind of has like a little bit of bottom end and a little bit of punch, but not much. I would personally, I think it's kind of cool to drop into that.
Let's take it back. One more bullet for the attack. Supersonic speed, son. Watch your life fade to black.
And then like right there, and then like into like a big like thick, I don't know, bring in some sub bass or lean less on like the acoustic drums. This is, again, personal preference. Maybe this is not your style, but
you should know how it is by now. I'm bulletproof and you better bet nothing's bringing me down. Drew the lines, you better not cross it. I'm top dog.
There's just not a lot happening in my subwoofer. And the energy of this section makes me think that it's like a chorus or a drop. And I feel like there should be something happening in my subwoofer. But if I soloed my sub, there's not a whole lot happening. I think that's why I'm torn on it. Like if I just solo this bottom end. Yeah, like there's nothing down there.
You should know how it is by now. I'm bulletproof and you better bet.
So like, although I do think it's cool to come in with something like that, I think it's got to eventually work its way to having like more low end and a more modern kind of beat to it. I think the acoustic drums, almost like Limp Bizkit style beat, is cool, but it needs that like that bottom octave that it just doesn't have in this section. Again, here, I mean, like, I feel like this whole song doesn't have a sub bass or something, or like it's missing its 808, you know, sub bass thing. That's my biggest concern. And also, like, the way that it's mixed, the vocals are a bit underneath everything with the guitar and the messy drums. It's not that I can't understand what he's saying. It's just that it's maybe not working with the guitars. Maybe it just is a mix thing. I'm not sure. Biggest thing by far is just that bottom octave. Like, do I still have my 3 oscillator here? Like this will demonstrate, even though I don't have my keyboard hooked up, so that's going to make things a little difficult. Let's figure out what key it's in. It's in E, so let's go down.
You know how it is by now. I'm bulletproof and you better bet nothing's bringing me down. Drew the lines, you better not cross it. I'm top dog.
So I'm just like clicking E a bunch of times, and it already sounds better to me.
You know how it is by now. I'm bulletproof and you better bet nothing's bringing me down. Drew the lines, you better not cross it. I'm top.
You know what I mean? Like just adding that bottom sub bass, I think is going to be the biggest improvement you can do to this. And then when we get over here, again, like it's just missing that sub bass. And then you can grow it from there, right? I think at the very least, you definitely need to bring the sub bass in. And you got lots of cool, the good thing is you got lots of really cool vocals and cool kind of like instrumental stuff to work with, but now it's almost like you need to remix or create like a modern trap beat kind of. That would be my suggestion. If you love the way it is, then keep on rocking in the free world. Thanks for sending it in. I really like the vocal, really like the guitar vibes and stuff. I just think it needs more girth. Okay. Next, vorticity. Oh, there we go. Okay. I'm reading a message. Just want to let you know I love listening to Hot and the Way We Rock while accelerating in my shitbox Dakota. All right. Well, at least you're not going to get any speeding tickets, right? Okay, this is super cool. Right here, instead of going 4 to the floor, 4 to the floor, I would drop out the drums all together. And build it up without the drums, because I felt like once we got into the drum and bass drop at this section, it kind of lost its impact. Like these two sections, there's not a clear, and you can even see it with the waveform. There's no clear like, oh, that's where the drop starts. We can maybe say the drop starts here because it's just as high energy, right? So if you maybe just drop out the drums, or maybe just drop out the main drums and have the percussion building up, and take a look at all of your elements that go from the build up into the drop. And if there's a lot of elements that continue from the intro into the build up into the drop, that's going to smear the impact of the drop, if you know what I mean. Like there's a lot of energy building, and now we're in the drop and it's continuing. And so to have some more clearly defined sections, I think that's my biggest note on this one right now, is drop out the main drums and take a look at all of the elements that just go from the intro right into the drop, and maybe try getting rid of those at the first 8-16 bars of the drop, bringing them back in, just to give it a little more clarity as to when the drop hits and give the drop more impact. Okay, so where were we? The breakdown. The snare. The snare is really good. The synth, it's not, I don't love it. Maybe it needs to be layered or a little bit more nuanced. To me, it kind of sounds a little bit too, I opened up a synth and this is the sound that was playing. The beat is really good though, like the kick and the snare work really well together. But my note from before kind of carries on here. I feel like there's a lot of like atmosphere, and for sure that's a vibe. I'm not saying you shouldn't have atmosphere, but that atmosphere, just maybe experiment playing with that atmosphere, taking some of it away during certain sections, giving it back to us, as opposed to just having like atmosphere the whole time, if that makes sense. Also, maybe try having your sidechain have the release a little bit quicker on the sidechain, because I do kind of feel like, I know that kind of like sucking, pumping thing, it sounds good, but it might just be a little overdone on this. Like I really noticed it there. But yeah. Overall, there's a lot of really cool vibey stuff, and maybe there's a bit too much of it all happening at the same time, or the structure is a little unclear in terms of, like I said, taking some of the atmosphere out, giving it back to us, giving us a chance to miss something, giving it back to us, but not layering everything on top of each other. It's not super clustered up, but like it's maybe a little clustery. Besides that, mix sounds pretty good. Sub might be a little heavy, or maybe the mids are scooped out just a bit. Nothing really too bad though. So good job. All right, Westbrook, here we go. We got the classic 16 dBs of headroom. We'll just go ahead and master that for him real quick. All right. The Need You featuring CRW, a real-life semi-local vocalist, Nick, a.k.a. Not Splice Vocals. Excellent. Here we go. I'm excited. Okay, so I'm super pumped that you reached out to a vocalist. That makes me very happy. I think the vocals are too low in the mix. I can't really understand what she's saying. So maybe that maybe like take that out while she's singing, or at least low pass it, or something. You gotta think these vocals are the most important part of the track right now, right? Like yes, we've got like a drum and bass thing happening here, and that's cool. But right now, anytime there's a vocal as a human, that's the most important thing we need to hear. We need to understand what they're saying. We need to connect with this person through their voice. So make sure that is always the priority. Also, I'm not sure about the intro. I don't know what it's serving, and maybe it's a placeholder and you're going to do other stuff, but to me, it seems a little unnecessary. So, you know, like I know that this kind of feels like a build-up, so you don't necessarily want to start the track there, but I almost feel like the intro is only there so that we're not starting the track there. So maybe this is a good opportunity for you to restructure this, make it a little less complex, and get her vocals right up front shining in the spotlight, and that's what you can use the spot for. And then, you know, maybe the vocal gets chopped down to like a hook or something that repeats every X amount of time during this build up, and that takes us to the drop. I think that would make more sense from an arrangement point of view. Yeah, I don't think that intro is doing any of this justice. Because like that the pad thing is a little too what's the word I'm looking for? Let's see. So like you could like tame those frequencies down in the synth, the chords, and it would be better. But I'm not sure that it's going to fix the problem. I'm not a huge fan of that synth in general. Let me get this back. There we go. Yeah, I don't know. Like now that you got a vocalist, I think you should just try to get those chords, you know, maybe a low pass kind of super saw detuney kind of thing, or like piano or something, and let the vocals really shine, and then get to your build up. And then, okay, so those are my thoughts on the first part of the track. Now we get to the more EDM or whatever part. So like there's some really cool sound design in here. I feel like the kick and snare are just kind of in the trunk. Like they're not really... It almost sounds like it's not sidechained very much. Right there, yeah, there's something weird going on, because like the kick is, I can feel it punching, but it doesn't sound loud. So I'm thinking it's maybe a sidechaining thing. Maybe the sidechain has to be a little deeper if there is sidechaining. It's not obvious that there is, so that maybe leads me to believe that if there is, it's not enough. That da-na-na, I would maybe like strip out a bunch of stuff and just have da-na-na. Because if you just play that section, there's a lot of dissonant chord things happening. There's also a few little, like, she's not, the vocalist sounds great. There's a few notes that are a little pitchy, a little sharp. So I'm not sure what the situation is with your tuning, if she's tuning it, if you're tuning it, if it's an auto tune, if it's Melodyne, what it is. But there's a few little sections that either comp together a better take or maybe just tweak the pitch a little bit on it. Right there, dude, like it goes from the wrong note up one semitone to the right note. Just a few little sections where it kind of stuck out to me, and that leads me to believe that the vocals are just not quite tuned enough. And also, like, there's still, it kind of comes back to like what I said about the vocals being the most important part. When they come back in, I'm going after the vocalist myself. It was my plan all along. Yeah, so I would strip out some parts. Strip it down to just drums, bass, maybe a chord, play the vocals, make sure they're loud enough, they're compressed enough so that all the parts are, you know, there's not a whole bunch of dynamics to get under the beat and over the beat and whatnot. Compress it, make sure it's up front, and then slowly add your elements back in until like you're like, I can't really understand the vocals anymore. And then you know you've gone too far, right? You can, when there's vocals, you can get away with not having a lot of super interesting elements in the track because the vocal is the interesting part, right? So I still feel like there's like 2 or 3 too many elements when she's singing. Especially that doom 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 doom. Like that's constantly pinging my brain saying, hey, listen to me, but I'm trying to listen to the vocal. So prioritize the vocal over that thing for sure. Right here, vocal. What, like this is like a plate being offered up to you. Like, hey, put the vocal here. Okay, there's a little pitchy stuff there. Also, I can, you know, you have like a chorus or like a flanger or something on her vocal, and I can hear where you've cut in. And I know this isn't finished, so like, you know, whatever, but those things are all the little attention to detail. Go in and cut out all the mouth sounds and shorten the take so you don't, sometimes hearing a breath is good. Sometimes hearing a breath sounds natural, but also sometimes hearing somebody take a gulp before they start singing is not adding to the song at all, right? So those are kind of the little attention to details in the vocal world. I almost want to say that that pew, 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 pew thing might work if you low pass it and slowly open it up as we get closer to the drop, because it doesn't sound bad. It's just like I said, it's continuously pinging my brain to pay attention to it when I'm trying to listen to the vocal. So just to subdue that a bit and let the vocal come through is going to help a lot. Yeah, and then I think really the side chaining is going to help a lot to make those drums punch through. I like the sound of the drums, like the crispy kind of clap thing is or clap snare. The side, all the elements are great. I think they're just kind of mushed together a little bit too much. And also, if you want to send me the vocal, I can melodyne it in like 10 minutes. So that's I will offer my melodyning services up to you if you want to take me up on that. But yeah, super pumped that you went out of your comfort zone and grabbed a vocalist and reached out to them, and I'm happy you guys are working together, and it's a cool track. Love the sound design. I think I love the vocals, but I can't really hear them that well. So, but that's mixing. So continue and hit me up if you want me to tune them. Dope. Okay, let's move on. DJ Big Homie Squats. I made this out of cymatic samples, and I'm going to put vocals in this later working title. Okay, I couldn't tell it was a working title, so I'm glad you put that there. Here we go. So I'm assuming this means they made it entirely out of cymatic samples. So here we go. That's interesting. It's cool. I you know, I don't want to like it because it's I'm assuming it's entirely just like cymatics loops, but it's cool. It's cool. The snare could definitely be louder. Like yeah, it needs like a big, you know, like a glitch hop snare or something. I mean, like, well done. You have selected the proper loops. They work well together. Needs a bigger snare, and it needs some really bad SoundCloud rapping on it. And then, like, maybe like a really overly cooked 808 on it. And then you'll blow up on TikTok. And just call it like, I don't know, beach feel beat. Beach type beat. Beach type beat. I don't know. It doesn't sound like a beach. It sounds kind of like Cuba or something to me. Yeah, I definitely need some DJ. Oh, you definitely need a DJ Big Homie Squats producer. What's it called? Producer tag? Like DJ Big Homie Squats. That you just throw like every 10 seconds on to make sure nobody steals the beat. It's funny that I'm giving you TikTok advice because I don't even have TikTok. But yes, like I said, don't wanna like this, but it's a cool beat. Put a disgustingly oversaturated 808 on it, and then rap about something irrelevant, and then put it on SoundCloud and profit. Thank you. Here we go. Turned down for squats. Oh my god. All right, we got an Ezwin track. Bird.
Let me put
Why does this sound familiar? Are you guys collaborating? Was this just a 1 in a trillion odd chance that you've created the same track? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I like this. I like both of these songs, but they are the same song. What? Okay, I'm gonna pretend that the Raham didn't exist, and you guys can sue each other and all that. Is this like a remix? Are you guys like pulling my leg? What is going on? It's Bird. Bit Bird. Oh. Wow. Okay. I still don't get it. Is it like a remix of a Bitbird song? Or I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about the mix real quick. I really like the vocal thing that's in here. I don't know where that came from. There's a little too much like the chords are too dense in the lower register, if you know what I mean. You know, if you just like pick little spots and then ask yourself what chord is that, it's kind of hard to tell. So maybe clear, you know, you got your piano roll and you got all these notes in your chord. Clear out like the bottom 2 octaves, anything besides like a root and a fifth, and then add in your color a little bit higher up, right? I think that's my main concern at this point. It's a really good chord progression. I think it just has too much color in the lower register, which gets messy pretty quick. I'm not a huge fan of that lead sound. Maybe if it was a little more lo-fi, like a little more bit crushed or something. Play my track and Ezwin's track back to back. Okay. Yeah, I know they're the same thing. I don't know what am I supposed to get from this. I don't know. It's a cool song. It's a cool remix. Great. I don't know what else to say besides my only negative feedback for Ezwin's version is the density of the chords in the lower region. Oh, okay. All right. This is some tomfoolery, I see. So. Wow, why Okay, cool. So we've solved the mystery of the 2 songs that sound very similar. That was very cool. I feel like if this was a joke, the execution was perhaps not perfect, but I do appreciate the thing that you did. So thanks, guys, for confusing me and maybe a couple other people on the stream. All right, cool. Let's move on to something less confusing. Glay, Leaving. Okay, let's stop it there for a sec. Yeah, the intro is a little long. It's not the length that's the problem. That's what she said. It's needs some more stuff happening to keep our interest, right? Because right now, when you think about it, we have two seventh chords alternating back and forth and waves, which is fine, but it's not enough to perhaps keep our attention for this length of time. So maybe tease a little bit of the melody, something from over here. Something, maybe filter it in, have it all reverbed out, just something to get us warmed up for what's happening without just relying on the waves and the chords. And then when it drops, the piano is very Minecraft piano sounding, and I don't necessarily dislike that, but it does feel far away. Like that like super reverb, like room reverb sound. It makes the piano sound distant. And I'm not saying that in itself is a problem, but when you pair it with like you have a kick, a clap, some top drums, a mostly pure sub bass that doesn't have a lot of harmonics to it, and then you have this distant piano. When you put those things together, to me it feels a little disconnected from each other. So I don't know, maybe experiment either like when the drop hits, take that reverb right down or away and have the piano feel more like up front in the mix, or maybe layer something with it. It's just, we have like this low sub bass and we have this distant piano and we have drums, and they all are kind of a little bit too far away from each other, in my opinion. I didn't love when that bass went up to that note. Like I think the chord progression that note would drive would be fine, but because we don't have the chords, that note feels a little strange to me. And then just kind of generally, things are maybe a little too reverby, delay-y. Like there seems to be a lot of room in between these peaks, right? Because the bass has like a decay to it. The arpeggio thing has a decay to it. Everything is, and it's all kind of distant-y sounding. That piano is coming in real hot. Like, I don't mind all the stuff that's happening, but that piano almost sounds like it's hitting the master limiter harder than the kick drum. Maybe try having your sub bass be more sustained or something, or because I don't know, if you think about the bottom end, if we solo the bottom end over here, there's like a lot of there's a lot of space, a lot of empty space, right? Now, if the sub was going a little bit longer, it would maybe connect things a bit better. Maybe having a bass that's not quite as decay-y. like musically, there's a lot of good stuff happening here, but yeah, things are just getting a little cooked, a little fried. So like I like this section better than the rest of the sections, honestly. For some reason, and you might want to look into this, this bass note that feels balanced to me, but then when I go here, or here, the bass seems to fall off. Like I feel like I'm losing the sub range. For some reason, that one note is like, this is the proper level of sub, and then the other notes are too low. And you also have to be careful with those super bright super saw sounds, because they're hard on the ears. They're very like our hearing frequency response as humans is very tuned to that frequency range that has a lot of. So you have to be careful with how often you bombard our ears with that kind of mid-range sound, right? Yeah, I would honestly, I tried to mute everything except the drums and the bass, and get the drums and the bass to feel like they fill out the bottom end a little bit more, and then add your other stuff, and be careful with reverbing stuff out, and I don't know. I think if you just stripped it down to the drums and the bass, muted everything else, got the drums and the bass to fill out that bottom end and give a good foundation to build on, then you're going to have a lot easier of a time building on it. So yeah. Cool. Moving on. Thanks for sending. Okay. High rethink. Here we go. Sorry, Heareth Inc. Now I know how to say it because I heard it. Okay, this is super cool. A lot of really cool sounds happening. I do feel like the vocals are getting buried, especially in this section. And also, like, I don't dislike the auto-tune sound, but I think what you should maybe try doing is manually tuning the vocals before they go into auto-tune. That way you have a little bit more control over what auto-tune does, because it was doing there's a few spots where I was like, is that right note, you know? So maybe if you have Melodyne or whatever equivalent, I use Melodyne. I think it's probably the easiest and best sounding solution out there for tuning vocals. Yeah, I would maybe get them a little under control more so before it hits the auto tune. I like what the vocals are doing. I liked when the track dropped out and I could hear them more clearly.
Supposed to do with you. I don't pretend to feeling you call love.
In this section, that bop, 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 the chopped up vocal thing, maybe pull it back or low pass it. Really, like, let the vocals shine through, because when you think about, like, well, you have two vocals kind of on top of each other because the choppy thing is a vocal and then also the lead vocal. So maybe try low passing those jup, 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 those things, low pass them, open it up as you get closer to the next drop.
What am I supposed to do? You call love. I know it's just a feeling. No, 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 it's just a feeling.
Okay, so a more overarching piece of advice I would give you is that this track, and maybe this applies to the other tracks you've sent in the past as well, there's a lot of really cool stuff, but maybe too many cool stuffs. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of elements and they all sound great, but I think you should try to find one main hook or one main motif or theme or something that you keep referring back to so that that gets stuck in our head. Because, like, right now, what do I have stuck in my head? I guess the vocal a little bit, but which part was it? Like, what am I supposed to do? I guess sounds like the hook, but like picking the hook and then treating it as if it were the hook. You know, maybe build up, drop it out, say the hook, drop. You know, that's kind of a cliche thing to do, but it's a cliche thing because it works. And that's something I find with a lot of the tracks that you've sent to me in the past, is that there's a lot of really cool elements, but there's maybe a bit of a lack of like hook, or a lack of like a staple thing with that song that gives that song a solid identity. And the good thing is that's more about trimming back as opposed to like adding more to, right? So I think, I don't know, I can tell that you're having fun and you're really good at like sound design and melodies and writing that stuff. I think the songwriting aspect is maybe what would what could use the most improvement. Yeah, okay, so if you take out the vocals and the chops, you basically have drums and like neuro bass stuff. Like I hear like do do do, like there's little melodies that happen here and there, and they're all really nice and they work well, but there's not that one thing or maybe two things that play off of each other. It's kind of lacking that identity factor that's like, ooh, that's that song, or like you could hum it to somebody and they would know what song you're talking about, right? So try to keep that in mind. I mean, the production, the mix and the master and sound design, all that stuff's dope. The vocals sound cool too. It's just, it really is about ask yourself, like, could I explain with my mouth to somebody this song and they would know which song I'm talking about? I think that's a good question to ask yourself when you're writing music. Can I be like, dun dun dun, and then people are like, oh, that's that song, you know. Yeah, that's my main piece of advice, man. It sounds dope. I think it just needs a little bit more identity. Okay, cool. Moving on. Time for the sick boy. Bleed, or was it Believe that was sick? Somebody said they were sick. Anyway, here we go. Okay, so what do we got here? We got. I feel like this drop is currently. It's a good place to start, but I think that's all it is. It kind of just trucks. It's just kind of like chooching along, you know. It does. It's moving, but it's not really. It's not really developing or evolving at all. It doesn't. I don't feel like I don't feel like when I go from here to here, I've really gone anywhere, if that makes sense. Like I don't feel like it was much of a journey. It's just kind of like, here's this note sequence and I'm going to give it to you a few times. And it's a cool note sequence and the beat is cool. And yeah, there's some issues with the mix. I think the thing that's sticking out to me right now is the open hi-hat sloshy thing. And I think I want to say you've submitted this in the past because it sounds familiar. But yeah, the sloshy hi-hat thing is... I don't know. I would maybe try it without the sloshy hi-hat or maybe bring those in halfway through the drop or something. But I think this style could... really or this track could really benefit from having a more complex sound design, like maybe you know, like chopping it up and adding more interesting elements, and then like halfway through have a little like fill or drop it out and have a vocal chop or you know, something so that it's not so repetitive. I think that's the issue right now, is that it's just a little bit repetitive. It's almost like, this is what it sounds like to me. It sounds like there's a metal band with a rhythm guitarist, a bass guitarist, and a drummer. And they are playing they're playing a supporting role to like a main character that isn't there. Like there's no lead vocalist, there's no lead guitar. It kind of sounds like you have the foundation of a track here, but there's nothing that keeps my interest. So I think if you treat it as such, you treat it as, okay, I've got this cool chord progression, note progression, whatever you want to call it. I think they're like power chords. But anyway, now I need to add a melody or a vocal or enough cool sound design that there's some focus, there's some element there. Yeah. The mix is in your face a little too much, maybe. Like the distorted guitar, or not guitar, distorted synth. Wow, talk. I can't. But yeah, I think, like I said, you have the supporting roles, but you don't have that main actor yet. So you gotta bring that in. You gotta give us something to sink our teeth in. Right now, you have a cool sounding drum set and a beat and a aggressive synth bass thing. Keep going. Give us something else. Give us some more interesting elements. And I think that's all I really have to say about that one. So thanks for submitting, and we're moving on. All right, we got Corrupting the Population ID. Wow, real unique name, Cody. Okay, the sound design is really good, and like the everything except the drums are really good. I feel like the drums are like, you have like this the bass is like here, and then you've got the super dynamic drum thing. But the sound design and the bass notes and stuff that you're playing is it's really straight up a problem with the drums. Like, that is the only thing. And obviously it's very quiet. And actually, if we just like slam it, like, let's just do this real quick, it might solve some of those problems. Where's maximizer? M. Yeah, this is, man, that's really good. Like it just I don't know if the drum selection is correct. The snare is just a little too, like, I don't know, FL snare sounding. Let me show you the snare. There's this drum, where is it? Drum damage. It's like 17 maybe. Like, I think the snare is just not dirty enough. Like, overall, things are not dirty enough. This is a track, right? Like, it needs to be treated like a dirty track. It needs to be treated like a dirty track, and that means distortion, abusing dynamic range. That is so much better, and I don't like the looks of what's going on in the master. Like, it's a little much, but yeah, I honestly think you just need to, like, slap it harder. I think it just needs to get slapped. But yeah, it's sick. I also really like I'll tell you one thing. The track started off at about a 5 in my books, and it ended at like an 8. So, I don't know. I would maybe not like full drop, but like leverage those like the nice major third, like, you know, kind of East Indian vibe thing that thing's doing. Leverage that a little bit more over here. Like it's a little bit in the background, but I would maybe do an intro that's a bit more atmospheric. Maybe it has some more creepy elements or something like that, right? I don't know. It's just so good once it gets over here. And just the start of it, it's just not the same level of good. So, yeah. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty when you're working on tracks like that. Use distortion, use compression, use OTT, and just be a little more heavy-handed with it, you know? Try to break it. Try to do things that you think you shouldn't do, you know? And just see what that sounds like. Because I think it's just a little too cut and dry right now. It's a little too, here are these sounds and you can listen to them, as opposed to like, I took all these sounds and sent it through a distortion pedal, here you go, you know? But yeah, it's a really cool track. I hope you keep going with it, and I hope that you destroy it a little bit harder. So moving on, we got a couple more. Actually, we have one more. This one is a snare drum. So Grim Lemons Remix. Okay, this is pretty good. I think the clap slash snare is getting lost. And that's not to say that you just need to turn it up. It might be a little more complicated than that, because you want full volume from the kick and the clap and snare. You can't cram them all together and expect everything to work out well. But it is... Like, I'm not really getting any clap sound besides I can kind of hear the tail after the kick is done doing its thing. Yes, any style of music is accepted. Anything at all, you can submit your track on my Discord server. The link is in my like about or whatever Twitch has. It's discord.gg/Fowler Music, FWLR Music. And all the ones that get submitted right now, I'll do next week on the stream. I like to try and keep it to about an hour and a half. Okay, I see someone says, I recommend using a pre-made kick clap. So I think sure, but you're kind of limiting yourself when you do that. I think the reason why pre-made kick claps sound good is because somebody who knew what they were doing put the kick and the clap together. So sometimes if you have a kick and a clap, let's do kick, I don't know, whatever. Cool. So we have kicks, just as an aside. I don't like that kick though. Here we go. We'll do this one, sure. So let's take this kick over here and we'll do a little boom, 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 boom. Sure. Okay, so we got a kick, and say you want to put a clap. I don't know. Now you got to think. The transient of this clap and the transient of this kick are now on top of each other, and that means the master bus is going to be unhappy with your choices. You can see that by, you can see this is the kick, and then that, okay, it adds up, right? So let's now try, you could try shifting it over so they're offset from each other. Let's see what that the gain reduction does. Looks about the same. Okay, so maybe we now this is an FL specific thing, but you could do it with a compressor. Maybe you let the meat of it still be quite loud, but you bring the transient down. So now let's check out the, okay, that's better. So maybe you combine the two, and then also you could do some filtering or high pass clap and remove transient from clap. I mean, there's no really one size fits all for this sort of stuff. It's all, every kick sample and every clap sample are going to work differently with each other. So it's really about learning the tools and then using them appropriately. And I'm not suggesting that this is a good kick and clap combination. I'm just trying to give you like my technique of because really what you're trying to do is you're trying to get it so that your master bus doesn't have to work quite as hard with the big transient stuff, the kicks and the snares and the claps and stuff like that, right? Because then if those don't add up to these massive peaks, now you can turn everything up and get everything a little bit louder. But anyway, that's a little aside. Yeah, let's get back to this track real quick. So with this track, I don't think it's a pre-shifting thing. I think it's just straight up not quite loud enough. Because I'm almost hearing like the reverb more than the actual sample. Yeah, it sounds like you got like maybe some room reverb or something on the snare, and I think it's just making it a little too weak. Like it's smearing it too much, right? We don't have that like, I don't really know what to say about this bass transient. It's very aggressive. Necessarily dislike it. It's just very sharp. It looks like it would cut me. I think you may have said that you're going to put vocals on it or something. I think that's going to help a lot because there's like these these sections that kind of just are there. I could hear vocals on top of. So let me see what you said over here. Acapella is missing. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that definitely is going to help a lot. Overall, I think it's maybe a little too wet with the reverb. It doesn't sound bad. I'd really like to hear it with the vocals so I could make a better assessment, but like There's just some things like the kick and clap is just not hitting me the way I think it should. I also think, yeah, yeah, I think bring the snare up, maybe ease off on some of the reverbs here and there. The thing with reverb is it smears stuff, right? It makes it harder to determine where the start and end of things are because it kind of fades everything together. So you have to be a little more maybe conscious of that with these drops. And I mean, when you listen to my stuff, there's like no reverb at all. There's like full sections of just pure silence in between sounds and stuff. So maybe I'm not the best person to ask about reverb because I don't really like using reverb in drops, but I don't know, man. It sounds cool. There's no glaring issues. Let's put it that way. I think it needs the acapella on it. I think the snare needs to come up, and I think it maybe could use a bit harder of a master because there's like just a little bit. It doesn't have to be smashed. But yeah, cool track. Okay. Well, that was it for this week, and it was an hour and a half again. That was great. That's like my goal is an hour and a half because I think it gets a little much after an hour and a half. I see some new tracks coming through on the Discord server. That's great, and I will collect them for next Friday. You can also get some feedback in the meantime in the actual channel from each other. I would just ask that you try and provide some helpful feedback and then get some helpful feedback, and that will help everybody. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. I love doing this every week, and I look forward to next week. So you guys have a good weekend. I'm Fowler.